down. Lay down. All right, thank you again, ladies, for meeting me here this morning. Today we're going to talk about working animals. In the famous words of W.C. Fields, never work with animals or children. They're unpredictable and they'll steal the scene. So we're going to wait to see how long it takes for one of these two to steal my scenes today. Since man first domesticated animals, they have all worked for us in some capacity. We've used horses for transportation, work the fields. We've used a variety of animals to protect our homes and our houses and to guard our possessions. Hannibal even used elephants to conquer in battle. Perhaps the animal that has become the most valuable and most useful to humans is the dog. Dogs provide companionship. They're used in police and military roles. Over the past few decades, dogs have become valuable in the medical industry to serve patients in a variety of roles. These dogs fall into 3 different categories, and each serves a different role, and there are different guidelines, training, and purposes for each animal. There are emotional support animals that provide support to patients. There are therapy animals that provide therapy and comfort to patients other than the owner. And then service animals, which are trained to perform specific tasks for their owners. Each type of animal is trained to a different level, and both owners and the public face different responsibilities and rights when dealing with these animals. Okay. I will discuss each one briefly with owner and public expectations for all 3. The first animal is the emotional support animal. Emotional support animals provide comfort and for anxiety and depression for patients. The animal does not perform any specific trained tasks for their owners. They only offer passive emotional support to their owners. Billy. This is Billy Jack. Billy Jack was prescribed to me when I was diagnosed with brain cancer to help with anxiety and depression. Billy, sit. Billy, come. Billy, lay down. As you can see, Billy doesn't listen. Billy hasn't been trained. Billy just wants to give everybody love and support. An emotional service animal has to be prescribed by a mental health professional, not your family doctor, not your husband because he thinks you're upset with him. It must be a mental health professional. They can be a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor, but they must be a mental health professional. The emotional service animal has no rights in public places. They are not allowed to come into public areas unless the owner of the area allows it. They are not. The only difference is they are allowed in housing situations and in airline travel if the pet is specifically designated as a comfort animal for airline travel. Now, a service animal, Barnabas, 6, are designated and trained to do a specific task for their owners. Barnabas has been trained to support me in my balance. 6, lay down. Good. Barnabas. Barnabas. Sit. Barnabas. Go play. Come. Sit. Lay down. Lay down. Service animals are allowed anywhere in public access that I'm allowed. So there can be no restrictions. The ADA only recognizes dogs as service animals. So if somebody has their bunny as their service animal, That is not allowed. If they have a raccoon, not allowed. Only the ADA only offers protection for dogs. Businesses may not restrict because of fears or allergies of the pet from their workers or other customers. They must be allowed or not allowed to go. Housing in public and public transportation cannot restrict my access. If there's no pet policy at the apartment, that doesn't matter. They still have to rent an apartment to a person with a service animal. The exception is if the animal becomes disruptive. It's barking, it's urinating, it's defecating on the floor, it is becoming aggressive. If it's not allowing the business to perform business in a normal task, the business owner is allowed to ask the dog to leave, but may not ask the customer to leave. They must remove the animal, not remove the customer. Do not judge a service animal by its appearance. Anybody can go buy a vest and pass it off as a service animal. You may look at a small animal and say, oh, that's not a service animal, it's too small to be a service animal. Service animals can do diabetic alerts and be carried in a purse to sense when blood sugar is going low, same with epilepsy. I could have a big dog that looks like he's fully trained, but he's not trained. Never judge a service animal by appearance. The third and final category is a therapy animal. A therapy animal is kind of a hybrid of both the emotional service animal and the emotional support animal and the service dog. A therapy animal has been trained specifically to go into public settings and offer therapy and relief to people in nursing homes, schools, any place that there might be trauma to somebody that needs help. So they've been trained in obedience and everything. The therapy animal, like the emotional support animal, is not authorized to go anywhere in public according to health code or public. It is all strictly on the business's choice whether they want to allow that animal or not. They do not get any special treatment in the housing or transportation either. So if there's a no pets rule at your apartments, no therapy animals. So to summarize, it's important that we are all aware of what the rules and regulations are. It is not fair to persons with disabilities, that's me, or the public, if we're allowing dogs in that are not been trained. That puts me and my animal at risk and puts your other customers at risk. So it's imperative that we are on top of this. And of course, if you're not allowing somebody in with a disability because of their animal, you're hurting that person's day-to-day life. There are two questions that you may ask to determine whether that animal is a service animal or is allowed. And it is only two questions that you're allowed to ask. Is that a service animal that is helping a disabled individual? The person is only required to answer yes or no. I don't have to have a badge, I don't have to have a vest, I don't have to have paperwork. If that person says yes, that dog is trained, what task is it trained to perform? You may not ask to prove it, show me what he does, show me, that is not allowed. But it is imperative that we know this so we can protect all of us from abuses and neglect in the system. Thank you, folks. I appreciate you coming out today.